I think that like a lot
Yes.
of the times people get on these scientists online and they're like, that's what they are. They're a
Yeah.
scientist and they just know all. They are omnipotent scientist. And I'm like, I am a human. I am
First and
just
foremost,
yeah,
I am
first
a
and
human.
foremost, I am just a human. I'm just a girl like that likes the ocean and studies the ocean. Like I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna say things that are incorrect sometimes. Science is constantly changing. I am just a human that is trying my best. And so I like making those pieces, even though they can be kind of tedious because like you said, you gotta go through, you gotta make that voiceover, you gotta do all of those things.
Yeah.
But I think it reminds people that there's a human aspect to it. And that was one of the biggest things when I got a management team for my science communication. I was like I am not becoming the commercial person. I am not becoming
Yes.
this like one entity. That's never who I'm going to be. I
Right.
need the internet to remember that I am just a human that likes to create content and likes to share about science communication and wants to connect people to the ocean and wants to help people get involved in marine conservation. But I am just a person. Give me some grace.
I agree with you there. You know, that's one thing that somebody told me when I first started. I was asking, you know, I was changing up my intro one of the times I was doing my podcast, and I was asking for feedback. And I had a good friend of mine. She always helps me out in terms of like what I should go with, and like kind of just confirms some of the things that I want to do. And she was always like, give us a little bit of tidbit of like your personality, like what's going on in your life, like what do you like? Which is, it's so funny because I interview people to get that personality out, like what they're like. I want people to know how cool our scientists are, and like they're like everybody else, they're human beings, you know, and they love certain things, they don't like certain things, and this is who they are, and that's the fun part of it. But I never really thought of it for myself until I get reminded, like, hey, you know, it's throw a little bit of like what's going on in your life, how the kids, you know, all that kind of stuff. And so every once in a while I'll throw something down because it humanizes you. People are listening to you, whether they're watching you on TikTok or listening through the podcast. You're in their ears, right? You're in their eyes on a regular basis, and so they tend to have that like almost like a loyalty to you, but like you're like you're an influence. I guess that's where influencer came from, but you're an influence in how they think about marine science, and having that personality I really like. I loved the videos of you going back like
Oh,
to Hawaii.
thank
That
you.
was really, I felt that was really special, and just
Thank you.
because you're like you can tell you love it just from the podcast, but before I knew you loved it just from that video because you're like
Oh,
it was a while since you had been back and you wanted to do, you know, spend time with your friends, and you're talking about couldn't see everybody. It was a little chaotic, but it's always fun. I like that part because it does show that personality. Yes, you know a ton about marine science and you're willing to share everything, but yeah, you got to get to know the Mckenzie.